guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for 8 Talk Magic. And I am here with somebody who a lot of people have said to me, you need this guy on the channel. You need this guy on the channel. I've been literally inundated with requests to interview the person I have here with me, who is Dustin Dean. How you doing, Dustin? You okay?
Hello, I'm good. It's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Mate, a lot of people have been
seriously, so many
hyping this up.
You. And I said to you just off camera, just before we started, I really have to apologize, but I don't even know who you are, man. I mean, I thought
I get that a lot.
I thought I knew everyone in Magic, but it's like, oh, there's this guy that's got like millions of followers and this and that and the other. I'm like, I kind of completely missed that. So I'm really sorry. And I'm so excited to have you on the channel. Yeah. And I can't wait to find out more about you, because you are, like I say, somebody who a lot of my subscribers have requested to have on here. So
that's cool.
Very cool. Bad. So where are you at the moment? Where in the US are you?
I am in central New York. So that is not the city. I'm in New York State, and it's a city called Syracuse, New York. So it's about 4 hours away from the city.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And just briefly, in 60 seconds before we start the interview properly, synopsisize me as to the type of magic you do, the type of performer you are.
Yes.
Tell me all about Dustin.
Yeah. So basically, I am a professional mentalist. I don't do, I can do magic, sleight of hand magic, street magic, all that good stuff. But professionally, a mentalist, mind reading, hypnosis, all that good stuff, metal bending with forks and coins. And I do that for colleges, for corporate events, private events, all the good stuff.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is very interesting. I'm going to pick up quite a few points on that. But before I do, for anybody who, like me, who doesn't know who you are, can I get your origin story? Because when I think about mentalists, I always think most mentalists start off with magic and then kind of transition into mentalism. Yeah. Was that the same for you? When did you find magic? When did this sort of happen?
Yeah. So this is pretty weird for me. I don't know how this happened. When I tell you this, like, no one understands why, but here's what happened. I started off, the same old story, magic set, 6 years old. We've all heard it. Loved magic, loved performing for my mom, all that good stuff. And then during high school, I watched David Blaine, and I loved his magic. I loved that very, like, in the moment, impromptu, like impossible magic with borrowed stuff. So I started doing that a lot. But it was when I was in high school, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, I saw Darren Brown on TV. Now, I'm in America, like I'm in New York, and no one around me knew who he was at all. Like, no one knew Darren Brown. Like, I even now, like, I tell people in the States about Darren Brown, and they don't know who he is. For the most part, other than like magicians. But I saw his special on TV, and I remember even learning, like, card tricks and magic tricks. I remember watching Darren and being like, this is a whole nother level. Like, I don't know how he's doing this. I can't figure any of it out. It's fooling me. But what really struck me as something that interested me more than anything else was that he was doing these things, but then he would sometimes explain how he's doing them. Or he would say to you, I'm lying, and this isn't real. This isn't some psychic ability. This is something else. This is something, trickery that I'm using, which I thought was awesome. Like, I was like, that's so cool. He's being honest about lying, which is so interesting. And then that, for me, led into a whole spiral of learning about James Randi and learning Houdini and his history of debunking psychics and replicating them. And I got really interested in that. And that became, kind of who I am. And from then on, I started studying just purely mentalism. And I've been really passionate about mentalism.
Okay, now that's really interesting. I want to back up a little bit because there's so much that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So back up a little bit. When you saw Darren, how old were you?
Yeah. So here's what I remember. I remember it had to have been like 13 or 14. because I remember I was watching it with my sister, and it was a very specific episode that I remember, and it was when he was like whispering into someone while they were sleeping, and he was like influencing their dreams, and then they would wake up and they had that dream that he said. I remember that episode, and I watched it with my sister, and I remember back then, like in the beginning, I thought, you know, everything he was doing was legitimate psychology, and like this was a whole thing. So that like really interested me. And I was really young when that happened. And so ever since then, ever since watching him, even when watching magicians, I really fell in love with the psychology aspect of things, and not the how you're doing things with sleight of hand, but the why. Like, why is this misdirecting someone? Why is this making someone remember how something worked, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay. And did you, so you got fascinated with mentalism at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Did you then become a full-time professional magician or stroke mentalist straight from school or college, or did you get a proper job at some point, or what happened there?
Yeah, so I the thing is, so right at the end of high school, I was in a punk rock band, which is a weird thing. Yeah. Before that, this is another weird, interesting story, but I got into pro wrestling school. Really weird backstory. Don't ask me how that happened, but I somehow joined a pro wrestling school and learned how to do that. So I was always like in love with performing in different ways and all that good stuff. So I was in a punk rock band, and you know, when I was 18, I was like, this is my destiny. Like, we're gonna be the biggest rock band ever. That didn't happen. Everyone kind of grew up and was like, no, this is dumb. We're stupid. So then I fell back in love into like, I was like, you know, I still want to perform though. And I remember like, you know, I knew I was doing magic and mentalism for fun. It's like, well, I wonder if I can really like start doing it like for money. Like, I wonder, you know, and I started researching it, and, you know, I started off doing like public events, like small ones, like walk around and private parties. And it's interesting, when I first started doing it, and this was around, I want to say 19 years old is when I first started, like got my first gig. I definitely did a combination of some magic and mentalism. And I tried it was mostly mentalism because that's just what I enjoyed doing. But like, I still held on to that magic. Like I felt like I needed a deck of cards with me, and I had to like, or else, you know, I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough material, and like I could default to doing a card trick. But eventually, I would say it took a year for me to just completely like get rid of the magic side and just start doing pure mentalism. And I even do it, and I know some people think like you can't do strolling mentalism, but it's totally possible. I do it all the time. I do strolling mentalism. And you know, I actually enjoy doing close-up mentalism. I think it's interesting, as well as stage. But yeah, so I mean, it did definitely start as magic and mentalism together, and now just pure mentalism.
Okay. And because I don't know if this is the case, but because I'm not a mentalist, but it seems that like there's less opportunities for a mentalist when you first start. Like as a magician,
yeah,
you've got kids' parties, you've got restaurants, even selling yourself. You know, more people are searching on Google for a magician than they are a mentalist. It's, you know, it must be a little bit difficult when you first start to.
It is.
You've chosen to go down that niche. It
is. And I think my what do you call it? Like my motto, I guess, has been that I'm just going to stick with mentalism and push that. Like I refuse to like start doing kids parties just because like that was, and it's not, I have nothing against children performers. In fact, I think that's a lot harder to do children's parties, and like I have a huge amount of respect for that. But for me personally, like I wanted to market myself in a sense that like this was different. And even though it was going to create a niche for me, and it was going to be harder to book in the beginning, it started to grow. Like that reputation started to grow. People like leaving reviews and being like, this is totally different. This is something you're not going to see. Like, this isn't, you know, like your average kid's magician. Like, so then I had the idea in mind. I was mostly going to market to corporate events and be like, this is an upscale performance. Like, this is high class mentalism, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then also colleges. So I think it really just depends on like what your goal is, like what you have in mind. Because even though it was hard in the beginning, it definitely, I feel like, paid off in the end.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Let me ask you a question about mentalism. This is something that because I've interviewed a few mentalists on this channel, and this is something that seems to divide mentalists right down.
Oh boy, here we go.
Propless versus propped mentalism.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on there in terms of?
You know, I originally, a few years ago, I definitely was like getting into that propless craze where it's like everyone was releasing propless material. Like that was the new thing. It was just like the next level mentalism. But to be honest, I pretty much hated a lot of the propless material. I don't use it. As a worker, as like a realistic, like going out there and performing, like I never use propless stuff. Like I have no issues using props. I don't know if you knew, I released my variation on a center tear. It's called the underground bottom tear. And I use that more than anything else ever. And I've gotten so much mileage out of it. Like and it doesn't have to be my tear, but like any center tear, like I'm totally fine with people writing something down, because here's the thing, like propless mentalism can be good. Like I've used some star sign divinations with it and it can work, but you can make propped mentalism. I don't know how to say it, but mentalism with props, you can make that seem like it's propless, and you can make that seem like it's amazing. Like for example, I did a viral video where I like seemingly read this girl's palm and like her mind and guessed everything like about, guessed the name she was thinking of. And realistically, it was just using a center tear, but it was like pre-show basically. And it just seems invisible, as you're watching it. So I think, to be honest, I mean, I guess it's like depending on you and your character and like what you want to accomplish, but I have no problem using props at all.
That's cool. And I completely agree with you on that, to be perfectly honest. A lot of the propless stuff feels like you're guessing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like here's my thing. So I study like psychics a lot because I debunk them and I replicate them. And their propless mentalism is way more impressive than the propless mentalism that a lot of people release, where it's like math or having them repeat letters. Like psychics don't do that. They just like cold read and they go out there and they just like throw things out there. It's not necessary to have these like complicated process things. That's my opinion though.
No, I totally agree with you. And I want to, before we carry on talking about your career, I want to bring up the whole psychic thing, because you've mentioned this about 2 or 3 times. And the one thing that I was aware of you, Dustin, is that you spend time debunking psychics, which I find very interesting, because most mentalists that I've ever met, they embrace that world. Like they'll do cold readings, they'll pull out a tarot card and they'll do tarot readings. And I know a lot of mentalists personally who go out and they'll do cold readings and act like they're able to divine the future and stuff. And I have to be honest, and I've got friends that are probably going to piss off by saying this, but I've always felt very uncomfortable with that, because
I agree.
It's kind of, I just think it's, and this is a magician saying this, so this is quite hypocritical. I feel it a little bit dishonest at times, So James Randi was obviously the guy, you mentioned him earlier. That was the guy that really made a name for himself debunking psychics.
Yes.
Can you talk me through what you've been doing in that arena, in that industry, and where that all came from?
So so I've always been passionate about that, I morally, with me, when I do my performances, I literally tell people that what you're seeing is an illusion of mind reading. I'm using a lot of real world techniques to create the illusion of mind reading, or illusion of the supernatural. And I tell people this is not real, even during my show. And a lot of performers or mentalists will say, why would you do that? So you're taking people out of that. Like, their biggest argument is that you don't go to a theater, like a play, and during the play the actors don't come out and say, this is all fake, by the way, like this isn't real, we're just acting. But the difference is that a mentalist can literally cause people to believe in what they're seeing. It's totally different. You can't just expect people to come to your show and when you're fooling them, like you're literally guessing things that you should not be able to know. And these lay people are like, they have no idea. And some are going to be skeptical, of course, but there's people that go and they truly believe. And that's why I think it's important to have that kind of disclaimer and tell people like, hey, this is just an illusion. This is a performance. This is entertainment. And the way I do that is because I've built kind of my whole persona around debunking psychics. So as I'm doing my show, I usually talk about how psychics claim to do this, and then I do it. Like, I replicate it, and I say, like, this is what a psychic or a medium might do, and I'm about to do this for you, and you're not going to have an explanation. And if I told you this was real, you would think this is real. You might leave the show. If I never told you, you would leave and say, he guessed my daughter's name. I have no idea how he would have known it. He has to have an ability. So that's why I literally tell them that. I tell them this isn't real. This is an illusion. Now, on TikTok, I realized I joined TikTok during the pandemic. And once I stopped performing as much because of the pandemic, I was doing virtual shows, of course, as we all kind of tried to adapt to that. But I really put a lot of focus on social media, and specifically TikTok, because I heard it was kind of blowing up. So I started to do some regular magic videos on there. And, I was doing some visual magic, and it was very outside of my persona. Like, it didn't feel right because, I'm a mentalist, and I was trying to just like do visual things to get views. And it wasn't until I debunked someone who was bending spoons on TikTok. There was a girl on there who said like she was focusing on the vibrations of the spoon and she could bend it. And she was just like bending it with her hand, not like Uri Geller where he's like focusing on it. Like, she was just bending it. And there was a girl causing a lot of people to believe that this was like real science. And she is a spiritual person. So she was saying this was like spiritual energy that everyone can do. And so I did a video on it and I replicated it, and that video did really well. And so then I said, oh, people are interested in this, and that's something I'm passionate about, and I can kind of use my mentalism background to do this. So I started to do more, and I started noticing on TikTok, there's a huge, huge amount of people who it's either spiritual, like supernatural videos or paranormal videos, psychics, mediums. They have a huge, massive following on TikTok. They get millions of views. And there's even a whole section called Witch Talk. And that's like people using witchcraft. And they'll do things where, for example, one I debunked was they had a crystal on their palm, and this one went super viral. And they would take a crystal on their hand, like on their fingertips, and they would focus on it and go like this. And the crystal would fall off the fingertips. Now, I knew this was the ideomotor response because we use this as mentalist magicians with pendulums and Ouija boards. And it's really just your mind kind of, or your brain sending a signal to your hand. Like they're moving their hands. They just don't realize it. It's just a very small movement. So I did a video on that, and I showed it, and I did the same thing, and I explained it, and that blew up. So ever since then, I realized, wow, there has been these people claiming they have supernatural abilities. There was a girl who was lighting candles with her mind that I debunked, and she said it was witchcraft. And a lot of people, a lot of young kids on TikTok were completely buying it, completely believing it. And these people were doing this completely unchecked. Like, there was no one challenging them, no one able to replicate it, no one who was like really standing up for the truth. So I realized, especially since James Randi passed away, I believe last year, a couple years ago, I knew he couldn't see this. There was nothing, obviously he's not with us anymore, rest in peace. And I thought, well, what if I kind of did what he did, but with TikTok, and I helped fight against this misleading information on TikTok. So I started to offer a challenge on TikTok, and it started at $100 for anyone who could prove they have, supernatural abilities under a live with me under my conditions. Then that amount rose. I kept using my creator fund from TikTok. Any money I got from TikTok, like, it went towards that. And it finally rose to $1,000 that I offered to anyone to prove their abilities on a live. And that's kind of that's how I've made a name for myself on TikTok. And it was very successful and very viral. People were really interested in seeing this and seeing people try to test their abilities under my challenge.
Wow, that's amazing. And so
I felt like I went on a huge rant there. I'm sorry.
No, because I'm really interested in talking about this with you. And I want to get back onto TikTok, but very, very quickly before we carry on talking about that. There's going to be people that are going to be watching this that are doing this sort of stuff. They are cold reading, or whatever it may be. What you say you're against it morally? Is there anything that we can do as an industry? Because here's the thing: the reason I'm against it, and this brought it home to me many years ago. So I've got a friend who's a layman. Who knows nothing about magic whatsoever. And I saw her one day, about 10 years ago now, maybe longer, and she said, "Oh, I've just split up with my husband," who she'd been with for about 4 years. And I was like, "All right, I'm really sorry, that's terrible. How come?" And she went, "Well, I went to a psychic, and that psychic told me I should dump him."
Right.
I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm like, hang on. What? Oh yeah, because they knew something. They knew things that they couldn't have possibly known, and they told me to dump him, and that my life would be better, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, nobody should have that power over somebody.
Right.
Nobody should have the power that you can affect somebody's relationship and break two people up because you're set. Nobody. That's why I'm against it, because I know there's going to be people that do it just for fun, and they do it to enhance their magic. And it's kind of like they do cold readings in the, maybe they're doing a mentalism routine where they've got a person's name, and off the name, we get some more information and we embellish it. That's fine. That's okay. But when you're affecting somebody's life and you're making decisions for them because you're telling them that you know the bet. That's
No, I totally agree. In fact, I had a show a few weeks, no, it was about a month ago now, about a month or two. I had a show, and it was a private party, and I ended my show, and I actually end my show with this, like, it's basically a modification to Name Place by Bob Cassidy, and it revolves all around psychics, and it's like called the psychic test. So I do this, and at the end, I revealed a name that this lady was thinking of, and it was it's a very dramatic, emotional moment. And the name happened to be, I did some cold reading myself. And whenever I do cold reading, it's not like I'm telling them, like you said, like, it's not, I don't tell them like what they should do or what they shouldn't do or what their future's like. It's basically trying to figure out what this name might be, like, who's this person, what's the relationship. So I said, oh, this feels like someone who the connection is kind of weak, and I'm not sure why, but it got stronger recently. And she said, that makes sense. So anyways, at the end, I guessed the name, and she started bawling, like started crying her eyes out. Now that to me is not something I want. Some mentalists, they want that like emotional response. To me, it makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't want them to feel like this is a real, thing, like a power that I have. So what I did is I asked her, like, I let her calm down, and I said, I want you to remember this moment right here. This feeling that you're feeling, like this emotional response, is exactly why I tell you that this isn't real, because someone could take advantage of this moment that you're having right now and make you believe that this is real. And they could take your money, or they could take advantage of those feelings. So I literally said that during, and it was a really good end to my show. Although it was very like emotional, but it was really cool in that sense that I got to get that message out. But it happened to be her brother, who she just found out was her brother. He was like in the military, and you know, it's this whole thing. So it was very emotional for her. But that's why I do agree with you. Like there's a line, and you don't want to cross that line. As an entertainer, as a performer, you don't want to mislead people into like literally changing their lives. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to entertain, and that's it.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Mm-hmm. So are you obviously, without coming out the pandemic, are you still big on TikTok?
So this is what I wanted to talk about. So as of last week, my account was permanently banned.
What?
Yes. So I did a video, and it was actually, there's two videos that I posted right before I got banned. There was a video on this guy who said he had supernatural abilities, and he asked me to expose him. He wanted me to, probably for clout. And he was doing this thing where smoke was coming from his fingertips, and then he made a glass shatter. So I revealed how he did that. I showed how he did it, you know, by slowing his video down. You can see that a BB gun, like projectile, hits the glass and it explodes. And that hit about 2 million views, and that started to blow up really good. And then I did another one, and it was the last video I ever posted on my TikTok, and it was of this doll that this lady was claiming was haunted. It was a doll that had it was moving, and she showed the back, and it had no batteries in it. And that video her video got almost 20 million views. And it's an insane amount of views. But all I did was I took a video, and it showed like how many views she got. And she also put a hashtag that said debunk this. So I zoomed in on that hashtag, and then I showed me doing exactly what she did. And I actually bought the same doll that she had. I found it on eBay. It's not even available anymore. It's from 2016. It's a Cabbage Patch pajama dance party doll, which I felt really weird about buying. Like, that eBay user is probably like, why is this man buying a, but forget that. I got it. And I did the video, and I showed that it was moving without batteries inside. And I did like this shocked face, like, oh, and she got very upset about this. And she said, first of all, she said that she was going to sue me. She was going to have a lawyer, find me and sue me for slander. And then she said that she never claimed it was haunted, even though in all the comments she was saying, this isn't the first time I've had activity with this doll. The hashtag said like haunted, possessed, this whole thing. So she kind of like backpedaled, and then she blocked me. So then shortly after that, my entire account, I looked on my TikTok, like I happened to open my app, and it said your account has been permanently banned for violating multiple guidelines. So that like shocked me. I was like, what? So, it forced me to log out, and it had an option to submit an appeal. And I did. So I hit submit an appeal, and I wrote like to TikTok and said like, I hope this was a misunderstanding, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Like I didn't, I try to follow the guidelines. And I went to go log back in a second time, and it said your appeal has been rejected. There's nothing, we've reviewed your account, and we found that it is against our guidelines. And they completely removed all my videos. All the money that I've made from TikTok, I didn't get because it got taken away from them. All the videos are gone. All my followers are gone. And I had over 40 million overall views. I had 435,000 followers. And all gone in an instant. So I've been like, this past week, I've been trying to contact TikTok and trying to figure out what's been going on. It's insane.
So do you know like what's going on? Are you any further along?
They have not, I've been submitting feedback, and they haven't like responded to me at all. And the weird thing is, I don't know, I can't make any accusations, and I'm not going to, but first of all, I get a lot of hate on TikTok, not from the people who are skeptical, who enjoy this content, and even people who aren't skeptical that just want to see if someone's going to take the challenge, especially psychics. Because to talk about what I'm going to talk about next, I have to talk about one of my challenges. So one of my challenges is that inside an envelope, I have a message from someone in my life that passed away. And it's not just a message, it's a passphrase. And this is genuinely true. And it's not blank. It's not, some people are like, oh, it's just blank. Like there's nothing in it. It's something funny. It's something stupid. It's a passphrase that me and someone in my life set up because we had the idea, and this isn't, I guess it's not really our idea. Really, it's Houdini's idea. Houdini set this same kind of thing up with his wife, where they came up with a passphrase in case one of them passed away. And essentially, we did the same thing. Me and this person came up with a passphrase that only we knew, and a couple other family members in our family. So it was only a couple people knew, and we had this passphrase. And in case one of us passed away, we would go to a medium, and the medium would try to contact us and figure out exactly what that passphrase is. Because if this ability was real, if they were able to contact a spirit, they could figure out what this passphrase is. It's not about what's seeing inside the envelope or anything about that. It's about learning the word from a deceased person. So this person in my life did pass away. And I try to be very vague about it, because if in case any psychics or mediums or anyone's watching, they're going to try to like research me. I can't say how long ago this was, but you know, it's someone that passed away in my life. And now I have that passphrase. I know what it is. I have it in an envelope. I have it sealed. It's signed. It's dated. And I offer this challenge for any psychic medium on TikTok to try to figure out what it is on a live. And if they guess it, they win the money, and they prove me wrong, and they prove what they do is genuine. Now, I offered this to quite a few psychic mediums, and I used to stitch their video. Like it would show them, and then it would show me, and I'd say, hey, my name's Dustin, I'm a professional mentalist. I have this challenge. And like, so I would directly challenge them. Now, this would cause a huge controversy to a lot of people. A lot of people thought this was harassment, because the psychics would get very upset. Like, obviously, no one has, well, I can't say that. Someone did take the challenge. I'll get to that in a second. But pretty much everyone usually denies the challenge, blocks me, says, you know, it's ridiculous. Like, it's not something they could do. Their favorite line is they have nothing to prove. That's their favorite thing. And then they just block me. In fact, John Edwards, probably the most famous psychic of all time, had me blocked on TikTok. I didn't even challenge him yet. He had me blocked, which made me feel really famous. But so basically, I offered this challenge, and there was a verified psychic medium on TikTok named the Bolesky. Now, I went live with her for about an hour. We did this whole live thing where we talked it out. And, you know, she expressed her beliefs. I expressed mine. I talked about how I'm a mentalist, how she's a medium, what the differences are. Now, she accepted the challenge. She came out and you know, approached me and said, I would like to do it. She said, but I can't do it until January because I'm booked up with readings. So that was like, you know, a few months away. Now, basically, I got the sense that during this live we had, which is up on my YouTube, the full live is up on my YouTube. I got the sense that she was trying to get a feel for me, like trying to gather information as much as she could. And so I was very reserved. Like I didn't give anything away. I didn't talk about the person in my life who passed away. She even did something, which if you watch the live, you might even see my reaction. It's a little interesting because I was thinking as she did this, but she said, she talked about the passphrase, and she said, you know, oh, the passphrase, he left. I mean, whoever left. Like she said he on purpose, and watched me for my reaction to see if it was a he or a she, because I've never said the gender of this person that passed away, which I thought was really interesting. I tried not to give anything away though. But anyways, the reason I bring this up is because after I got banned, all of the videos she made mentioning my challenge, she erased, she deleted. And these videos don't get automatically deleted when someone gets banned, because there's other people that have stitched me and duetted me and made videos on me, and it's there. But she deleted them purposely. Like, she manually went in, deleted any videos about me. So another guy on TikTok had this isn't my theory. His theory is that since she's verified, she has some pull with TikTok and maybe she got me banned. I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to like point fingers at anyone. I don't know. I really don't know the reason. I don't know. And it's a bit upsetting about it, to be honest. But the bright side is I am going to be focusing way more on YouTube. You know, it's newer to me and I haven't put focus on it before, but that's kind of what I'm going to attempt to do.
Okay. Do you have any intention of resetting up a TikTok account and starting again? I've got friends that have been blocked and they've kind of started again, or have you?
Yeah.
Has that ship sailed?
Yeah. So, well, I've done that. I did make a second account, and you know, just I might post on it once in a while, but I really do want to put more focus on YouTube. I think YouTube is going to be competing a lot more with TikTok soon. I mean, they have the shorts. I think they're going to put a lot of focus on that. And really TikTok just kind of left like a, you know, like a bad taste in my mouth. It's like not, you know, I think they just don't respond, which is just wrong to me. I spent a year on that account, you know?
And are you still fighting this? Are you still trying to get in touch with TikTok?
I am. Yeah, I am still fighting it.
So frustrating, man. So frustrating.
It is. And what frustrates me the most is a few weeks before I got banned, someone made a fake account of me, and it was just my name and my picture. And then so my name on TikTok was Dustin Dean Mentalist, and theirs had 2 T's at the end. It was like a fake account of me, and they were messaging people. A lot of my fans were sending me messages and saying, hey, this account had sent me a message with a link in it. They're trying to get me to click this link. So I knew it was like some, you know, scam artist, spammer. And I messaged TikTok and I said like, hey, I reported their account and I said, hey, this person is, you know, like copying my account and they're trying to scam people. That account is still up. Yet they took mine down. And now there's 5 other fake accounts of me that are just on TikTok that they've just let be there. And that's just crazy to me. Like they took mine down, but left these clearly fake accounts up. It makes no sense.
It really doesn't. I just no, I don't know at all.
I know.
Very confusing. So how many subscribers have you got on YouTube that you're putting all of your focus into there? I mean, the advantage of YouTube is because you've got obviously long form content, like what we're doing here now, but you've also got access to the shorts. So anything that you on TikTok.
So I mean, right now I literally only have like 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. It's because I never did anything with it. Like I kind of posted some shorts here and there, but I never put a lot of focus into it. But now I just like redesigned everything and I want to start doing longer content. Like I want to start reacting to psychics, like as they give readings and stuff. Like I want to break it down and say like, here's my opinion on this. Here's what I think they're doing, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So like, that's my plan. And I think that will be good. I'm excited to do that.
Okay. That's really good. And what is your focus going to be on moving forward? Because obviously doing the YouTube stuff is going to build your brand.
Yeah.
Your focus still on being, I suppose what I'm asking here is what's more important to you? Doing the busting of the psychics and doing the social media stuff, or being you know, like Dustin Dean, professional mentalist?
Yeah. So I think what's interesting is what I want to do is try to combine them into one thing. And I was talking to, so I have an agent in the college market, and I was talking to him about that. And I said, what I would love to do is build my social media brand to be like this professional psychic debunker, like supernatural debunker, and then turn that into a live show where now my show revolves around replicating psychics and debunking them and literally showing people in real time that I can do what they do. And now that they see that, and I'll tell them right out that like, this isn't real. And this is exactly why you can't just believe everything you see. So my idea was like just that. It was just kind of turn it all into one thing. And I think that will be something a little bit more unique. So I'm hoping that will work for me, but we'll see. Who knows?
Wow, that sounds incredible. I've never seen anything like that before. That'd be a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
Love that. That's really good. So let me ask you one more question, which is, what's left? What is there anything left on your bucket list, your magical bucket list, your mentalism bucket list?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you haven't achieved yet that you want to achieve? What have you got planned in the future moving forward? What are your goals? What are your aspirations?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to sound like it's going to sound selfish at first, but it's not a selfish thing. I just really want to be on TV. Like I've been on like local TV and stuff, but I want it like just like a show or like a special where even I go out and I do this debunking thing or I challenge psychics and stuff. I would love that. I would love to, because for me, it's not even about, like, obviously I love performing. I love doing mentalism and I love that feeling we all get when we perform. But to me, it's almost something more when I'm able to also educate people. I'm able to educate them and also entertain them. And that is just something I'm really passionate about. So if I'm able to do that and, make that more accessible to people, that's kind of my goal. That's what I would love to do.
That's a great goal. Well, that's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome. And there are a lot of opportunities to go on TV with this sort of thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. While I've got you here, for people that are watching this, do you have any advice when it comes to social media? Somebody who has, I know TikTok has screwed you over, but somebody who has over the course of the last year, built up almost 500,000 subscribers on TikTok and millions of views. I mean, that's just huge accomplishments. And now you're doing the same thing again on YouTube. Is there any advice that you've got for magicians that are watching this or mentalists that are watching this in terms of how to grow a social media account?
So my biggest advice has always been, and I learned this myself, like I said before, like in the beginning of doing TikTok, I was doing stuff that I wasn't passionate about. I was just trying to get views. I was trying to get attention. I was doing magic that literally I just didn't have any passion for, didn't have any interest in, but I was doing it. And it didn't do well. And I think that's the lesson. That's the lesson with social media, is do what you're passionate about, because that will show. That passion will show to your followers, that will show to people, and they'll say, hey, this is interesting because he thinks it's interesting, and they'll follow. So, and I've noticed yours is like that too. You're very passionate about the topics you talk about in magic. And people are responding really well to that. And I think that's the common ingredient, is just passion about what you're doing. Don't just do things just because it's going to go viral or anything like that. Do what you like, and I think success will follow.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's got to be, if you can't get excited about a topic, how can you expect people to get excited about it? People buy excitement, they buy enthusiasm.
Yes.
And if you're not excited and enthusiastic, how can anyone else be?
Right. Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap this whole interview up, and this has been an amazing interview, let me ask you, we'll just cycle back to the mentalism side of things, because we completely deviated off that and it was so fascinating. Yes. Let's just quickly go back to that very quickly. So you do a lot of stage shows now, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Although you still do sort of walk around mentalism, I do. You do a lot of stage mentalism as well. Any advice on performing on stage? Because whether you're a mentalist or a magician, it's the holy grail for a lot of people. I want to be, I want to be a stage performer. It's a big difference walking out on stage in front of 1,000 people or 100 people. Especially, you've mentioned colleges, man. Those college audiences, they will eat you alive if you aren't good. Yeah, they will snap you like a twig. They will.
The production value. It's to them. It's all about like the production value. You gotta have the music. You gotta have like the projector in the background. It's like a whole thing. But my advice, first of all, I have to say, for me, and maybe this is weird, maybe this is different than other people, or maybe it's the same. I don't know. I haven't really talked to other performers that do stage shows that are about this anyways, is I personally enjoy the more intimate close-up shows, like parlor shows or like private house shows. Those to me feel so much better than doing a stage show. And I know it might be a holy grail for a lot of people, like, oh, I just want to get up on stage. it's good, but you feel, especially with mentalism, you feel disconnected from everyone. Like you feel like the more people there is, the more you feel like you don't have a connection with these people, you don't know anyone, whatever. But when you do like a house show, it's very like free flowing, you feel very casual, you're able to just really connect with people, which is really nice. Now, however, you still have to try the hardest you can on a stage show to try to build that connection and make people feel, don't use, a big thing I learned was like, don't use people as props, like don't just like bring people up there and be like, oh, and then shove them away. Like really like try to build that connection, don't feel like a stiff robot on stage. Feel free to be like a person, like just normal and, as calm as you can. And a lot of people ask me like, how did I get started like doing stage shows, or how did I practice? And for me, what I did was I went to open mics and went to like open mic nights and found like, even if it wasn't, because there's like variety open mics, but I would literally go to like comedy open mics and just, surprise people and be like, I'm actually not well, it is kind of funny, but I'm a mind reader. And then it would be kind of funny and I would make it a whole thing. But like those, you're kind of throwing yourself into like rough crowds. Like open mics are usually like, it can either go really good or it can go really bad. So that's like a really good practice thing. There's nothing, you don't even have to, you could technically like make up a name. Like you don't have to be, so it couldn't hurt your, business. You could just like be someone else, but it's really good practice. It's good to learn how to manage a crowd. That's just some advice. I don't know if it's good advice, but it's my advice.
I think you can't underestimate flight time. And one thing I hear over and over again is magicians and mentalists and performers saying, oh, I'm not going to go out and perform for free. I'm not going to perform unless I'm getting paid the fee I want to get paid. Well, that's fine. But if you haven't got any experience performing on stage, and a huge fee straight away.
Right.
You need the flight time. You need to go somewhere to be bad so that you can be good. Because
exactly.
I've never met a performer that goes out on stage for the first time and absolutely smashes it.
No, I didn't. I know that. I didn't.
I died on my ass for so long. But yeah, I think that you need that flight time, don't you? Your advice is so right. You need somewhere where you can go, whether it be a comedy club or whatever, that you can go. And I've seen performers that are new to stage, and there's so much that you need to think about when you're on stage. Yeah, but because when you're doing close-up or strolling, you got your bits and bobs in your pockets. You go. With stage, there's stuff that you didn't even know you'd need to think about. Like, okay, I need to rehearse where I'm going to stand, but I also need to rehearse where all my props are. I hate seeing a magician and a mentalist on stage where they're like
looking around, like,
what's there, and they don't know where to put the spectator, and they don't know where to put the assistant, and they don't know what's going. It's like, So that's amazing advice. That is absolutely amazing advice. It really is. And you mentioned, I'm going to pick up on one other thing. Because we glossed over it. And this is a question that I really want to know the answer to myself.
Yeah.
We talked very early on in the interview about strolling mentalism, and you said people don't think that you can do strolling mentalism. You can, and then moved on. Have you got any advice? Because I'm not a mentalist, right? I do magic, and when I'm doing mix and mingle, I can't imagine doing mentalism, mix and mingle, or even mental magic. I'm trying to grab people's attention, so I'm doing like really visual stuff. Look, you've got a coin. Oh my God, it's amazing. How do you make mix and mingle or strolling mentalism work? Like even as
a good question.
Yeah,
it's a good question. I get that a lot, and to me, it's never been. I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. Like the way I do it is, I guess here's what I do. I don't know. Usually when you do strolling, you kind of have like a little set, right? Like you have like a little, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 sets or something. So what I do is I start with like the same thing pretty much every time, and I build it. So like it starts off really simple and very conversational. Like I'll start off and I'll be like, hey guys, my name's Dustin Dean, and I'm a mind reader. So it's like a very like, I try to grab their attention immediately. Like that's with what I'm saying, like get them interested and be like, oh, okay, you are. And I go, yeah. But I say some jokes and I say, let's start with something really simple though. So I always start with something really simple, and it's usually like a drawing duplication or something that I want to get them doing something, like something that's visually making someone do something. So drawing duplications are really good because then that's also visual. You show they match, and that's great. You get applause. And then I usually go from there and I say, now that was great, but it's nothing, that's nothing personal. I want to get more personal, and I want to do something that just seems totally impossible. And then from there, I usually do like a center tear, and I do like a name reveal, or, something that has emotional relevance to them. Because from there, what you're looking to do is get like a really good reaction from that person, and it gets everyone interested. So I feel like with mentalism strolling, it's more about creating a story, getting people invested, and then focusing on the reactions of the people. Because that's what literally every time I do this, every time I do like my center tear and I reveal something, I get like everyone else is like, wait, can you do that with me? Wait, okay, I'm thinking of this. Can you guess this? Can you blah, blah, blah? And like, it's so then they all want to do that. So yeah, I feel like it's as long as you make it everyone comfortable, you don't want to go up there and be very serious and be like, I'm about to reveal your innermost secrets, and like it's got to be very comfortable and relaxed, more casual, I'd say. Okay. But also silverware bending, coin bending is fantastic, like for strolling. That's another visual thing I do.
Yes, I can imagine metal bending working really well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine that. That's awesome. What's your favorite mentalism or routine to perform? What's your favorite on stage and strolling?
Yeah, okay. Strolling, it has to be my, I mentioned this a lot, and this is not me self-advertising. It is my underground bottom tear. And it's literally where I get someone to think of someone close to them, just their first name. And I do this whole routine based on that. And I actually stole this idea from Richard Osterland. Don't tell him, but no, he teaches it on his on one of his mind mystery DVDs. It's not like a technique. Well, it's a technique, I guess. It's more of a presentation idea, and it just works so well. But whenever you're doing a name reveal, there's a really nice subtlety that Richard Osterland uses, and I've kind of brought it into the modern age, because when he did it, he would get them to think of this person, and using cold reading or just asking them, you'd find out the relationship to this person. So let's say it's their father, and you hold out your hand like this, and you say, I want you to imagine you're holding a picture of your father, and you're saying in your head, this is my father, and then his name. And it's just like, I don't know why this works so well, that it gets a better reaction than any other reveal I do. Is something about this visual of you do this and then they do it as well. And everyone, and this is what's good for strolling as well, they're all looking at this and they're like, why are they like holding their hands out like this? There's nothing there. And I usually like put my hand on their shoulder. And the reason I say I brought this into the modern era is because I imagine them that I have them imagine that they're looking on their phone, like on social media, or they're like looking at a picture of a recent picture of this person. And then I have them like repeat it in their head. And then I say with them, this is a picture of my father. And then I like pause, and then I'll say, I look at them in the eyes and I say, John. And then they like flip out. And it's like such a good presentation. Like, and it sounds stupid because it's not like anything flashy, it's nothing like that, but it gets great reactions. And so it's my favorite. That's what I love to do. On stage, I would say my favorite thing to perform is something, I know it's not my own original idea. Like it's gotta be, I just know it's not. I think it's based off of something Cody Fisher did, like a comedy book test. But I don't know, because I never like learned his book test. But I do this one, that a book test that uses The Hobbit, And so this is giving away some golds here. All right. But this is like, I say I have 2 books, and they're both fantasy books, like popular fantasy books. And first I bring out The Hobbit. I say, okay, anyone familiar with The Hobbit? And like, yeah, oh yeah, great, Lord of the Rings. And then I go, and the other very popular fantasy book, 50 Shades of Grey. And that gets like a really good laugh. And it's like, oh, it's a different kind of fantasy. But anyways, during the routine, I get them to think of a word out of 50 Shades of Grey. And it's this whole thing where I ask them questions and they stand behind me. And I go, I want you to just answer honestly. And I write out the first letter, and it's a P. And I say, okay, can you focus on the word? It starts with a P, doesn't it? And they say, yes. I say, great. Now, can you just imagine seeing this thing as an object? And they're like, yeah, I can. I say, okay, great. Can you imagine holding it in your hands? And then they go, yeah. And then I write E. So it's P-E. And then I write N. And I say, you just use 2 hands. That's interesting. And, people start laughing in the audience. And basically, it's this whole play where I ask all these questions, say, is it big or small? And they go, oh, well, it depends. And I go, okay, great. What color is it? Oh, it's like skin colored. So it depends. And they answer all these questions, and I keep writing. And I write an I, and I say, okay, we're getting somewhere. This is really good. I think I've got it, but I'm not sure yet. And I'll ask something like, do you receive this on holidays, like more around holidays and more often? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you happy when you receive this? Yeah. And then I ask one final question, and as I'm writing the S, and I say, is this something that you typically put in your mouth? And as I'm writing the S, like everyone like gasps. It's like a really inappropriate thing. And they say no. And I'm like, ever? And I say no. And I cross it out. I say, oh, this is so embarrassing. And it happens to be that the word was present, like a gift. And it's like this whole thing is a really funny moment. Really good for kid shows. Yeah, that's my favorite routine to perform. I think I love incorporating comedy. I think, and this is another little tangent. I'm not going to go off for long, but I think a really good theater show, or any show, TV shows, movies, if you have a mixture of comedy and then also serious, like if you can go from being really comedic, but then turn things around and all of a sudden, boom, it's serious. And like that, I think people love that. It's like a roller coaster ride. Like it's never flat. I think that's important. So just wanted to throw that out there.
You don't see many mentalists that do any type of comedy.
Yeah.
Over here in the UK, we have Graham Jolly and John Archer.
Yeah.
But there's very few mentalists. Most play it straight.
Right.
There's very few that I mean, that routine that you described sounds hilarious. There's very few mentalists that try to incorporate comedy like that. But as you've shown by describing that routine, it's something that you can do very, very easily if you just think about it and you have the chops, right?
Absolutely. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people will disagree with me, but I, like other mentalists, I think it's important. I think if you keep things too serious, it's just not as entertaining. It might be impressive, it might be amazing, and people will not understand what you're doing, but there's definitely more entertainment value in adding some lightheartedness, some comedy, and varying moments. I think here's what they fail to realize: if you're serious the entire show and you're just dead serious and everything's very serious, that's one level. That's like nothing is elevating, nothing is changing either. But if you add some comedy in there and then a little bit later on, all of a sudden it's serious. It's like you're elevating that seriousness, because now there's just like, you're just changing the levels of things. And it's just, to me, that's more interesting.
I completely agree. Absolutely agree. You know what, Dustin, this has been an incredible interview.
Thanks for having me.
No, man, you're awesome. I like I say, I didn't really know you beforehand, but I've now sitting here thinking, damn, I need to see this guy's show. I just want to go and see your show. This is amazing.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Where can people follow you? But actually, let me ask you one more question. You mentioned several times this center tear. Is this something that you sell yourself, or is it available as a download through the company? Or? Yeah,
so it's available through Murphy's. So it's like every magic site you can get it. It's called The Underground Bottom Tear by Dustin Dean. I've been thinking about like upgrading it, because this was like, I don't know, probably 6 years ago that I wrote it, and like 7 years ago, I don't know. But I want to do like a video format. I think I might do like I hate to say it, but like a UBT 2.0 that, you know, people release things, but I think I should update it, and like, even if it's free, I don't know, we'll see. I just want to like update it. I feel like it needs to be, but the original PDF, if you get it, it is literally, it tells you exactly how to do it. I do have a video in there that shows me doing it step by step. And also it just gives you a lot of good routines in there as well.
So you can get that from literally any magic shop. So
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
it's a download.
Do you have any aspirations of releasing more mentalism, or is that something that you want to go down the route of at some point?
Yeah, it's not like, you know, I never consider myself like a creator. I do create, but like, you know, I'm more of a working mentalist, but like I do release some things here and there. And I do have plans to release some more, I think, in the future. I think I would like to do that. So.
Okay, that's cool. And where can people that you've mentioned your new YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What would the where can people go to do that? What do they search?
So the channel name is just Dustin Dean Mentalist. Same thing with my Instagram. It's Dustin Dean Mentalist. If TikTok ever comes back up, that will also be Dustin Dean Mentalist. I do have a backup account, which if you just look Dustin Dean Mentalist, you'll find that as well. But yeah, that's, like I said, for now, my plan is to just focus on YouTube. And my biggest goal right now is to raise my $1,000 challenge to $10,000. I think that would be insane. So that's what I'm planning on doing.
You are like the modern day James Randi, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what they used to call me, the TikTok James Randi, which was pretty funny.
That's great. That's awesome. So I will put the YouTube URL and the Instagram URL.
Oh, thank you.
On the screen. And yeah, Dustin, this has been an incredible interview. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
No, man, it's been amazing. And everybody that's watching this, please do me a favor. 2 things. 1, follow this man on YouTube. Go click on the link in the description and give him a like and give him a subscribe. And also, you know, make sure that you follow him around on all the other social media platforms as well, because this has been an incredible interview. I want everyone to leave a comment down below, because Dustin will see them. So leave a comment down below, and let us know what you thought. But Dustin, one more time, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you having me. It was a good time.
No problem. You're great. So guys, thank you very much for checking it out again. I'm going to be back again tomorrow. I'm going to have 3 videos, 1 at 2, 1 at 6, 1 at 9. So make sure you come back tomorrow, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.